I know the leagues. I know the teams. I know these players. I know this wonderful game called football.
Welcome to the Money Line, presented by Pro Football Debate and BetOpenly.com, the official sportsbook sponsor of the Money Line. It's week 4 in the NFL, which means we're going to look back at the plays we gave out for week 3 and run down our leans and see any spots we hit or miss. Total plays went 3-3, so no harm, no foul, and keeps the season total at 7-4-2, so still in the positive and moving in the right direction. Drakes, what did you give out? How'd they look?
1-1-1, so not a great performance on my end. Kansas City got home, which was an easy play. Again, it was more so a fade of the Chicago Bears than anything else, and Kansas City did what they do. Other plays that I gave out were the Jets, and Zach Wilson still can't play quarterback. Can't believe I was on them again, but they were in a spot they could have won if not covered the game. So it is what it is there. And my third pick, I don't quite recall. Just kidding. It was the Denver Broncos, and in historic fashion, they lost 70-20. Russ looked good, though, for what it's worth. Yeah, he's towards the top in a lot of statistical categories, and that defense is absolutely atrocious. I think I saw Miami had 6 scoring drives of 5 plays or less. And I think Devin Achane just scored again as we're talking here. So Denver.
I thought I saw him running down 75 as I was coming home, but
yeah, that was his celebration from the end zone. Not great. Have to avoid anything Denver, even against Chicago this week as 3.5-point favorites. We'll touch on that later in this week, but I can't play on Denver. Please don't let me.
I won't. I promise. The road ends here. It stops.
Yeah. How'd you shake out?
Yeah. So I ended up having a pretty decent week at 2-1 through the 3. First play I gave out was Buffalo minus the 6.5 versus the Commanders. Kind of expected, like I said, to go the Vegas way, where if Buffalo gets up, just expect them to turn it on. And yeah, that's pretty much the exact way it went. Defense played lights out. I think there was 4 turnovers in that game. And like I said, once they got up, just never really looked back. So a no sweat there. Second no sweat was Detroit minus 3 at home. Again, I kind of, you remember I said I expected the defense to come out flying, have maybe like a game like last year against Washington where they get a ton of sacks and everybody's kind of eaten. Team went for 7 sacks. Hutch had a nice game with 2 of those. And then Brian Branch come out with 11 solos, 2 tackles for a loss, 2 pass deflections. So, again, kind of a runaway defense played well. So in both those games, 3 points given up. Love that. And then the last play was Tennessee plus the 3.5. We kind of talk about that variable spot a lot in Tennessee in the dog roll. I don't know what's going on with Tannehill. If that's the best they have, that GM needs to look in the mirror because that is brutal. That offense couldn't move the ball. When they ding into field goal range, the guy's getting sacked out of field goal range. So Tennessee was probably the only bad play there. But, Vrabel, the Titans in general, as dogs covered 2 in a row this year, probably a due factor there. Maybe I overlooked that, but sure. We're not afraid of this. We're not afraid of the streak. That's how our motto is. So, threw them in there. So 2-1. But overall, 3-3, so no harm, and still trucking along on the year and having a good year so far.
Yep, awesome.
So
on the games.
Yeah, let's get right into it. Kind of a weird game, just like a lot of coaching mistakes, and Chargers end up getting the win against Minnesota. Anything stick out there other than just bad coaching and who wanted to lose more?
Minnesota's defense is, I can't believe I'm saying it, worse probably than they were last year. Like, they were a team that had a lot of luck in their 13-3 record last year. Didn't think that they were, as good as they were record-wise. Thought they'd have some regression, but I didn't think that the defense would be nearly as bad as it was. I thought it'd be improved. They would probably settle around like a 10-11 win team. They're behind the 8 ball. Defense has been awful. My boy Kirk has been awesome. Because he's had to be. They've had, I think, 5 or 6 red zone turnovers. One of those was a pick by him. But I think, went off receivers' hands and stuff. So it's not good in Minnesota. And then the Chargers got the win. I mean, that's all you can really say. Justin Herbert was solid. Can't believe like the air raid on both sides. Like the running backs didn't do anything all game. So yeah, I mean, we gave up the total of 54. It landed at 52, I think 28-24 final.
Yeah.
Some points were left on the board, but yeah, is what it is. Move on to the next week.
Yeah, I know we said we'd be like high scoring, and for the most part, it was. Other than the Miami game, that was up there as far as totals go this week. But Titans was a play I gave out. I mean, again, we can rehash that when Deshaun actually looked okay. That defense still in Cleveland is just nasty, just nasty. I know we kind of were talking during the game that if Tennessee could get to maybe like 17 or 20, we'd have a shot. And yeah, they just the Cleveland offense just lived on the field, and Tennessee just had no answer defensively, really. And yeah, I mean, not too much going on there. Again, probably a do factor since Tennessee was 2-0 ATS going into that game.
Mm-hmm.
This is one we're all over. We had on the circuit card Texans plus the 9. If you remember, I think it was week 1. We talked about Houston getting overlooked, catching them at a good number. I know this stuck out to both of us. The plus 9 divisional game. Jacksonville just struggling against Houston. Kind of remains big survivor knockout.
Huge.
Yeah, huge. So talk us through that one. I mean, what did you see there? What'd you like?
Yeah, I said before, Jacksonville hasn't looked good all year. They gave up a lot of points, had some untimely turnovers against Indy in week 1. Week 2 didn't do a ton against Kansas City, albeit Kansas City is a much better team than Indy, but didn't do much against Kansas City, and you kind of have to question like where things are at. So divisional dog on the road, 9.5 points is a lot of points. And Houston, I think, has been trending up. They should have covered week 1 against Baltimore. They played Indy week 2 and got kind of steamrolled.
Made a game late.
Yeah.
And Richardson had two TDs on week 2 before he got hurt. I'm sorry, I guess, yeah, it's anyway. Well, he came in Michigan play well. I'm sorry. But yeah, I don't know. Again, we caught that number though, and we said look out for it earlier in the year. And I don't know if maybe we see overreaction next weekend though. Do you think they're maybe in a fade spot? I haven't looked at the early lines.
They're 3.5 point dogs, I think, at home against Pittsburgh. So I don't know. I kind of lean the Texans with the 3.5, but we'll see kind of how the line shakes out during the week.
Yep, Patriots and Jets. Jets play you gave out. I don't think that was a bad play by any means. If that offense could do anything, then they probably win that game. But Patriots defense is really, 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 really good. So definitely something to keep out there, especially on the totals. And if they're in a 3.5 spot, hopefully D can at least keep them in there moving forward.
Yeah, just real quick, I read some stats on Christian Gonzalez, the corner that they drafted from Oregon, and just really impressive start to the year, shutting down number 1 wide receivers. Tried to contain Tyreek Hill 2 weeks ago, did a good job on Garrett Wilson on Sunday. So it's something to keep an eye on going forward.
Yep, Saints and Packers. I gave out Packers money line. I said I didn't really trust the 2. Love with a fourth quarter, comeback there. He's playing well. I'm actually really excited to see that Detroit game on Thursday. I think it's going to be just an absolute battle between 2 teams who are probably going to compete for the North.
Yep, absolutely. I said Green Bay -1. I'll take the push there, thankfully. Kudos to you on the money line. But yeah, Green Bay, showed some grit and determination, ended up getting the win. To your point, looking forward to the battle of NFC North this week and see who prevails to be the number 1 team.
Honest opinion, if Carr doesn't get hurt, do they win that game?
I say yeah. Like Derek Carr is not – obviously he's better than Jameis Winston, but it's not like a huge margin in my opinion. Yeah, Derek Carr, like he turns the ball over. He's not Mr. 40-40 like Jameis, but he can find ways to lose games too.
Fair. I'm not even going to touch the next game. It's been beat to death all week, Broncos, Dolphins. Bills and Commanders, again, we kind of went over that one. Allen has a good record against the NFC. Just kind of ran away with it. Defense came up huge. Again, moving right along here, Falcons, Lions. We talked about that one, just defense coming out big for the Lions. Aaron Glenn needed that probably more than anybody. But just kind of showing that, Ritter is maybe not the answer. It's early. I get it. But he just, without some help, in the backfield, he's just not looking like he belongs or he's going to lead that team who does have a lot of talent.
Yep. Completely agree. He's a guy that he can't lead a team. to score points. They can play when they're, in a close game or ahead, but being down like they were, like they don't have the arm to keep up. And when Detroit's strength is stopping the run and it limits you, you really have a hard time competing when you don't have a quarterback that can make adjustments and make some throws.
Yeah, agree. Colts Ravens, anything you want to touch on there?
No, I lean the Colts plus the points. We talked about Baltimore not looking as good as they have in years past. Kind of a weird weather game as well, which kind of levels the playing field too. Didn't expect the Colts to get the outright win. That was especially a killer for Survivor too. But we were on the Colts plus 8.5 as a lean in what we talked about last week.
Yep, Hawks and Panthers. The next game on the list, Hawks were favored by the 6.5. We both said that obviously Dalton was gonna be an upgrade from Young.
For sure.
What would you think? What did you think there? I think that was spot on. I mean, they actually moved the ball in the first half too. They actually got down the field. It was pretty close. And then Seahawks running game though, it's gritty, man. Those third downs between Charbonnet and KW, they pick them up, they eat them, and they were getting some chunk yards too in the second half.
For sure. No, I like Seattle a lot this year. On some of the promos throughout the different sports books, I do have Seattle win the Super Bowl. So maybe, probably not. But the way they can move the ball, Geno is pretty good. He's got some playmakers at wide receiver. To your point, Kenneth Walker, Zach Charbonnet is good at 1-2 punch. Hopefully they can both stay healthy. I gave out Seattle minus 4.5. Number got to 6.5. I think it closed around 4.5. It was a little sweaty first half into the third quarter, and then Seattle kind of ran away with it late. So really not a sweat there, and I'll be looking maybe to play on Seattle, although the line's weird this week. We'll touch on it more in our next episode, but Seattle at the Meadowlands, or at MetLife, excuse me, plus 1.5. Weird number. So looking to play on them again this week.
Cowboys minus the 12.5. Obviously the upset, probably of the week, never in it. Another Survivor, buster, and we follow the contest like we do. The Circa Survivor had 9,000 to start. We're down to 2,500 ish.
Yep.
The implied value on a ticket is $1,000 buy-in. The implied value right now is I think like 3,400 or 3,700, but it's definitely in the threes. It's climbing every week, it seems.
Yep.
And it's just I have nothing to say there. There was nothing good about that game. What do you think? Do you think we're able to get a little bit of overreaction on the Cards next week, or?
I don't know. I mean, they're 14 or 14.5 point dogs against San Francisco. We gave out, let the record show, definitely strong lean on Arizona plus the points against Dallas. I don't know where I stand. I feel like I would take the points with Arizona at 14.5. That hook matters. Divisional dog again, and for some reason they just find ways to compete. James Conner looks pretty good. Dobbs has looked solid. Like they're making plays when they need to. And I don't know. And then Dallas, conversely, they're playing against New England. Tough defense. Will Dak be able to move the ball? Will he throw more red zone interceptions? Like, I don't know.
Yeah, that's going to be there was a lot of shade thrown at Dallas this week, obviously. This week's going to be the real test, in my opinion, to see what they do against New England, because, again, that is a good defense, and we're going to kind of find out if they're frauds real quick here.
For sure.
Bears and Chiefs, you liked Kansas City, basically fade the Bears spot. Just absolutely atrocious from the Bears. I don't even know where to begin with that. I got nothing to say. We have touch on it. We can move on to
let's move on
to the next one. Steelers Raiders. Weird game again. The going for the field goal there, down by 8. I don't know what was going on there, but Steelers get the cover. I think we were on them, if I remember.
Yeah, we were on the Steelers. We talked about Mike Tomlin, I think, week over week as dog. Record's impressive. And then question if they figured some things out in their previous game, and maybe they did. But Pickett had, some good plays. They have some speed on the outside now. Najee looked good. I think he's like second or third in 15-plus yard rushes so far this year, which is surprising because it seems as though he hasn't really done much. So maybe their offense is starting to click. Defense will stand up against anybody. So the Steelers, are they back? I don't know.
Yeah, and I know last year we touched on like their ability to cover with Watt in the lineup, and he is 100% just a game changer for that defense.
I mean, that's 6 or 7 sacks already.
Yeah, he's just an absolute animal. and completely changes the whole dynamic of defense and honestly the entire pace of a game. So,
Right.
yeah, fun little tidbit there. When he's in, shockingly they cover, and when he's out, they struggle a little bit.
Yep.
Eagles -5, Bucks last night, the early game on Monday. We were on the Bucks. I mean, obviously we're gonna just go with old reliable, home dog in prime time, but I think they had some chances and just did everything they could to just not score points.
Yeah. And Philly they're those dudes. Like, incredible offense. I can't believe how good Jalen Carter has been to start the season. Super impressive. I think he flipped the game on its head. Uh, they were in the red zone. The Eagles were. Hurts threw an interception. Tampa gets the ball back. They're at like their own 40-ish yard line, maybe. Jalen Carter makes a play, forces a fumble, get the ball, score points. Whereas if Tampa gets a touchdown there, ties the game up at 10, who knows kind of how things shake out. So, yeah, really impressed with their defense. And, yeah, we were on the wrong side there. That's all I can say.
Rams Bengals. I don't think we really had a play here just based on
No.
the uncertainty of Burrow. Sorry. But yeah, just not. I mean, that game was just not appealing. I was kind of honed in on the Bucks one for the most part, and then low scoring, not really great. And
No.
any takeaways from that are just
Not really. I mean, the Rams settled for field goals from what I saw, turned it off second half. It's kind of footballed out at that point through college and NFL. And the game wasn't really entertaining. So couldn't tell you too much about those teams. I still don't think Burrow is right from what I saw. And the Rams, I don't know what to expect. I think they'll maybe be a 500 team. They'll be better than people thought. And I question what's going on with Cooper Kupp. Like, we haven't heard much about him or if he's coming back, when he could be coming back. So maybe this is the team they're going forward with for quite some time.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I was pretty much with you. It was off pretty much by the third quarter, and yeah, I said no interest.
Yeah.
Okay. I got nothing other than big week for Survivor getting bounced. If you moved along, great. Congrats on that. Ours is a little different, the $250,000 one, because we can't pick the same one. Chiefs, no sweat, so that was kind of fun. And we march on. But got anything else to add, or is that pretty much it?
No, that's it. We'll see you guys in a couple days for week 4 picks.
Yep. See you in a few days.